their newest model. You must have this when shooting 3D. This is an absolute must. Now, I didn't really spend that much time getting the cameras aligned this morning. We just kind of stuck them on there just to sort of show the rig. The demo is really over there. But normally, you'd use the trans-video monitor in your setup of every shot to gauge your parallax values. It's got a variety of different modes where you can actually view it in 3D, but this is a really critical tool. Somebody was asking me before how long it takes to align our rig, and it can be, you know, once it's built, less than a minute sometimes. It's very, very ergonomically designed and easy to work with. That was one of the most important things to us. You know, as I said, there's a lot of practical considerations that go into it. How do you transport it around? How long does it take to set it up? How heavy is it? Obviously, it's got to be very rigid, all these sort of things. But, you know, I mean, again, how many times are you going to have it on a camera car versus a dolly, a tripod, a jib? So we've opted for a lighter weight design when we want to go onto camera cars and really, you know, vibration-prone environments. We've got some stiffening bars. Normally, in the full configuration, which is not in right now, you'd have your rails across here, you'd have your motors on here. We've got stiffening bars that connect up here and introduce a tremendous amount of additional rigidity into it. Because obviously right now we've just got, you know, the two cameras here, and if we went and shook it around in a helicopter or something like that, there's going to be flex throughout the system. But we've opted for lightweight, 24 pounds on the rig, about 70 to 75 pounds with the REDs, the ingenues, the C-motion motors, the trans-video monitor, the RED monitors, etc. And this is best suited to tripod, dolly, techno crane. Actually, techno crane and Scorpio head operators love this because it's substantially lighter than other full-size rigs that are around. 24 pounds, you know, we were doing a shoot with a Scorpio head, and he said this configuration was about 18 pounds lighter than the previous 3D configuration he was using, and that was the difference between working and not working. So the weight, it's not just about convenience, it's about the different type of equipment. You know, as you get to a heavier and heavier rig, the amount of money that you spend on camera support, crew required to move it around, freight, it becomes an issue. So we've opted for lightweight, ease of use, ergonomic, you know, accessibility to the controls. Here's where your motors would clamp on for the convergence. You got 5 degrees of angulation for convergence if you want to. Okay. We choose parallel most of the time. Shooting TV right now, we are converging on that show, so we don't want to lose the resolution of doing the horizontal image translations. And also the production company that's doing it is a little bit new to 3D, so we wanted to give them something that would be basically working out of the bag without them having to do a lot of stereo rectification and things like that. But the idea is we want to give the user of the rig as many options as possible. I don't want you to shoot with my philosophy. I think you should, but you don't have to. We recently opened an office in North Hollywood. Okay. So 21st Century 3D has been established in New York for 17 years. Okay. And we've been in LA for a year and a half. And now I've been flying on airplanes every other day.
So you guys are a production company, or?
We are a production company.
Okay.
We also manufacture these rigs.
Okay. I was going to say, and an integrator, or?
Well, you know, what happened was I started out and I wanted to make 3D movies and nobody had cameras. So we had to make our own. And it turns out we're pretty good at it. So we've been doing it. This is our 3rd generation.
Counts for a lot, especially in something as tricky as 3D.
Yeah. This is our 3rd generation Beamsplitter. And
it's definitely a unique.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the things, maybe, I don't know if you heard what I was saying before, but, you know, the glass, the optics are also very unique.
Really did, yeah. And I could see what you're saying on the demo.
Yeah, we tried to use a lot of clips in there that showcase it. Water, metal, glass, all that kind of stuff is typically a problem.
Absolutely. When you're talking about specular highlights.
Exactly. Polarized light entering the system.
Showing up, yeah. So what kind of stuff do you guys shoot mostly?
Well, we've been doing a lot of commercials, TV. Haven't done a feature film in 2010, but the past 2 years we did some feature film work. Historically, we've done a lot of corporate and industrial work. Actually, that's not true. The ski film is a feature film, so we did work on a feature film, but not, you know, like I DP'd a feature last year. The year before that, I became the first guy in Hollywood history to get an above-the-line credit as a stereographer on a theatrical recently released feature. Yeah, that was great. I was really pleased with that. You know, in the previous two major commercializations of stereoscopic technology in the 1950s and the 1980s, you really just had film studios behind that. And obviously they're big companies, but they're, I mean, in the grand scheme of the world, they're not that big, you know? And so you got 4 film studios saying, oh yeah, 3D, 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 and we know all the technical problems that cause that to fail. The difference now is you've got Sony, Panasonic, Samsung, JVC, Sharp, Toshiba, multi-billion-dollar international conglomerates saying, hey, this is a technology that you want.
Well, now they've decided that there's a product they can market.
Right.
So that's a completely different impetus behind it, you're right.
So, but that's a big deal because now you've got a lot of companies putting a lot of R&D money and a lot of marketing money, even if it fails, even if 3D fails miserably, which it won't. For the next 5 years, there's going to be billions of dollars spent on it, just because they're not turning that marketing machine off after just turning it on. So I think there's a really positive future for 3D. And I think anybody who's in production right now needs to be looking at it. It's just, I mean, what has been a hotter topic in 2010 in the film and television industry than 3D?
Sure. I mean, you know, the HD theater and Discovery Channel and all that. Have you guys done?
We're shooting a show for Discovery right now. Those video clips of the guy on the Steadicam are from the Discovery Channel show that we're shooting. We're talking to them about a couple of other different shows. We shot some stuff for ESPN. The very first 3D footage ever shot by ESPN was shot by 21st Century 3D. We did some tests at the Winter X Games in 2008 for them with some older camera technology that we had. And you know, now we're working on all kinds of things, smaller, more compact, side-by-side cameras. I think the technology is intimidating to people, A, because it's new and maybe they don't understand what they need to yet to actually achieve it. But this is intimidating, I recognize that. It's big, it's heavy, you can't just pick it up and go and run and shoot with it. So obviously we're moving towards that. The Panasonic 3D A1 is a good step in that direction.
Do you have a chance to play with that at all? Is there any prototypes around?
You can buy it now. It's out.
That's right, yeah.
But 21st Century 3D was also involved with the very first Panasonic shoot with that camera. And years ago, we designed the 3D VX, which was 2 Panasonic DVX100s merged into a 3D camera, which many people consider the inspiration for the 3D A1. And there's actually even some technology in the 3D A1 that was pioneered in the 3D VX. So your ability to control zero parallax in the 3D A1 came directly from stuff that we developed in the 3D VX. So like I said, you know, we've been doing this for 17 years, and we've been thinking about it quite a bit. And we've spent, you know, I'm hopeful that one of the advantages that we have as a provider to the industry and as a production company is that, you know, everything that everybody's been going through now in the next year, 2 years, 5 years, we've done that already. And we've been there already. And we've gained that experience. And the funny thing is, and this is true of many things, on every single shoot, my understanding of something or my approach to something is just constantly being refined, and constantly learning something new, realizing something new, subtle, different ways of doing things. And that is a level of experience I think that everybody is going to be getting up to over the next couple of years, and we're going to start seeing more and more sophisticated 3D productions as it proliferates.